Alright, so we're finally at the end of the PS4 generation, and people are beginning to look back at what the best games of that generation were. Mostly so they can ask for them to be on the Switch, but only to complain that it runs like a flipbook afterwards, so that's a different topic for another video. Being the nostalgic type, I figured it'd be fun to kind of look back at games that were meant to make a huge impact, but ultimately went away as quickly as they came. And what better game to start with than one of my actual favorite games of the last generation. Let's get this out of the way first. I made a video for the Order 1886 on this channel right here, and it did alright. In that video, I praised the game's use of a 2:4 aspect ratio and kind of went on a deep dive on the importance of anamorphic lenses, what they're for, why they're used in movies, and ultimately, why the game had black bars. So yeah, if you want to check it out, it's right here. Cool, moving on. The Order 1886 is a cool game. You kill a Wolfman who might be Jack the Ripper, but that's not really answered in this game. You also shoot a lot of dudes, and visually it's still one of the best on the PS4. The story is campy, has a cool action horror vibe to it, and if you're the kind of person who plays spooky games around Halloween or whatever, this might be worth adding to the rotation. It's short though, so don't plan on playing the game for too long. Alright, let's turn the clock back a bit. Roughly after the PS4's initial reveal, the Order 1886 was announced at Sony's E3 event in 2013. 2013 feels like forever ago though, doesn't it? Since this was at the start of a new console cycle, people are ready to see what the next generation had in store for them. And with the strong showing that year, it says a lot about how this game could stand out from the Soras, the Joels, and the Order 1886 went on to become one of the first games from the PS4 generation that truly looked next gen. Yeah, Killzone looked cool, so did Infamous, but nothing quite looked like this. The animations were superb, the detail in the world was unlike anything else at the time, and in an era where most games were sequels and remasters, it was nice to see something new. Alright, let's fast forward. The PS4 and the Xbox One are launched. This guy says this at E3.
We have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right.
This hashtag happens, and somebody kills John Wick's dog, then regrets it. The Order 1886 was set to release on PS4's sophomore year, until it wasn't. Like most games these days, the Order was pushed back for an additional polish and development time. In a statement on an old IGN post, developer Ready at Dawn claimed that, quote, "As we look to bring this experience to players, we have decided to spend some extra time to deliver on the promise that we made when we first introduced the game." This could be due to the game's poor preview reception, where most notably, Colin Moriarty claimed that, quote, "The brief 10-minute hands-off demo I witnessed concerned some of my biggest fears. The portion of the adventure I saw ran relatively poorly, with sudden, sharp transitions between scenes, audio issues, and a lagging frame rate." Considering this game had been in development since 2010 and in pre-production since its earliest 2006, oh my god, that's back when I was an emo kid. Ugh, well, no hiding that. It wasn't a great sign for Sony's newest IP. At E3 2014, another trailer for The Order was revealed, and while it was definitely representative of a game that would launch a year later, it was obviously the victim of a pretty reveal trailer the year prior. Just like another game. Crazy how that happens. 2015. Another year passed, and not much happened. The year is finally here, and the Order 1886 is on the horizon. There's just one problem though. About a week or two before launch, a full playthrough of the single-player campaign was leaked. The game's launch was not only plagued with the runtime rumor, but it was also the victim of a lower than stellar critical reception. In short, the game was average at best, but not very long. Soon after the game's release, the price was permanently cut by 33%, and the hype came and went. So, what was wrong with the game at the time? Let me be clear. I think the game is fine and it's totally worth playing. It's beautiful, intriguing, and not that much of a time sink. But this is also because it's cheap now. In 2015, that really wasn't the case. I, for one, was one of the people that pre-ordered the game, and I was looking forward to playing it that Friday at work. Let's get to the obvious issue here. A AAA game has expectations that are set by, well, everyone that makes AAA games. By not including a New Game Plus or really having that many meaningful changes in difficulty, no time trials, no multiplayer, nothing. Definitely enjoyed the game. I remember feeling annoyed that once the credits rolled, it was it. And I'm definitely not alone here. For $60, it just wasn't worth the time at launch. But how's it play? The gameplay in the Order 1886 is fucking rad. Galahad is super fun to control, the gameplay changes often enough to keep it fresh, and every single gun in this game is pretty fun. But there's one major flaw here. The bosses are terrible. While it was cool to have to run away from the first werewolf, and it definitely built a lot of tension, the fact that it's a QuickTime event boss really kind of is a letdown. And then that same QuickTime event boss is copied to the end of the game. So your big final battle is just playing a rhythm game. And that's a major problem here. Throughout the game it's really fun, but it's nothing I haven't played before. Besides the lockpicking minigame, that literally might be the best example of how to pick a lock in a video game ever. Everyone has to do this. It's actually kind of fun. This one was stupid though. You shoot and dodge bullets from dumb enemies, you drink some black stuff and then go Ultra Instinct, press R3 to breathe when sniping, sneak around and get caught and shot at. Been there, done that. Had the Order's linear levels given me just a little bit more freedom to explore and experiment with gameplay styles, kind of like The Last of Us and Dishonored, I think it would have been received much better. Because let's be honest here, the world they made is really cool. I mean, just look at the art style. Like, you can spend so much time just kind of taking in things. The fact that these are like futuristic characters in medieval times, it's just awesome. But they don't explore it that much. And ultimately, I think all the game's problems could have been solved if there's just a little bit more to do. Be it a few more hours of campaign, maybe some sort of multiplayer mode, or even just a more open world to explore. And that's what's frustrating about this game. Its world building, story, and presentation are great, and you'd be hard pressed to find anyone that thinks differently. It's gorgeous, the use of the anamorphic lens emulation, the fact that this game was a new concept at the time where the industry was overflowing with lazy ports, poor sequels, and generally boring games. So when you see all of this, and then immediately learn that that's all, it's a huge bummer, because the cliffhanger ending really left me wanting more. And while people have hope for a sequel, with the recent acquisition in the game's developer Ready at Dawn by Facebook, the odds of the Order 1887 are looking pretty thin. But Sony does own the IP, so who knows? Either way, that really shouldn't dissuade you from playing the game as it is now. It's a budget title, and quite frankly, it's one of the must-play games on the PS4. The world's interesting, gameplay is fun, and aside from this, the story and presentation were years ahead of the curve, and you can finish it in a few hours. It's also cheaper than a Call of Duty skin or whatever people waste their money on these days anyways. So, I don't know, maybe you'll like it as much as I did. Cool, look at that. I'm actually filming myself. Obviously, if you're watching this, you notice that, but whatever. My background's kind of boring here. I know. Probably should have used better tape when I painted this. It looks really bad. But yeah, thanks for the support so far. It's kind of cool to see a video get almost like 7,000 views or something like that. I don't know. It's cool for all like 3 of you that are still watching at this point. Yeah, so be sure to do that thing that everyone says to do at the end of a video, but don't feel pressure to do it because that is stupid. All right, bye.